We are on page 91, chapter 22. Let's just do a quick review. We're almost finished with these quick reviews because we're going to start soon finishing with this subject, but still for a couple more chapters. We are talking about the hidden love that every Jew has to God. And we're going to get a tool how to use this hidden love in order to become a Benoni. There's a way for us to use that hidden love, that we're willing to die for God. The only problem is, it only comes out in extreme cases. It doesn't come out for every case. You know, not every time you get angry, the hidden love from God comes out. We get angry all the time. Only when there's extreme cases, not even everybody, once in a lifetime to some people, it will come up. And we're going to, like I mentioned many times, this is not the way or the way to do it. It is, Shalom Aleichem, it is one of the ways to do it. Please sit down, we're on page 91, chapter 22. And what we discussed last time was how the entire world is nullified completely to God. And one of the biggest questions we had last time is if the entire world is completely nullified to God. It was introduced by Mr. Zimitz, if I remember, last word. He wanted an explanation of what does it mean the entire world is nullified to God. I understand the Sefer Torah is nullified to God. I understand tefillin are nullified to God. Kiddush, helping another person, a hospital. But you know, there's all the other side in this world. Why do we say that all is one? Everything is godliness. That was the question last time. So, and we kind of explained what does it mean nullified to God. We said that there's two lights in this world. There's a light that reveals God in this world. There are things that give us godly revelation. You see a baby being born, you see godliness. Or you can see the opposite. That is not godliness. That's what it looks like. So it tells you, no, everything in this world is godliness. Even the things that don't look like godliness, they're also godliness. And he gave us the example from a tortoise. It says, you look at the tortoise, you think the animal is not there. You only see a stone on the top of it. You should know that the stone itself is the animal. In other words, there's energies in this world that they hide godliness. But in actual fact, they are godliness. Just like the turtle's shell is part of the turtle. That's what we explained last time, and there was a lot of questions about it, and today we're going to answer some of the questions. So chapter 22, Perek Chaf Bet. Page 91, chapter 22. If you're looking at it, page 91. It might be page 90 over there, it changes. But it's page 99 over there? 89 over there, okay. Page 89 over there. So Perek Chaf Bet. And then we also explained, we gave a little bit more explanation, that God created this world with 10 utterances, if you remember. And those 10 utterances hide what he does. It is godliness, but it is a type of godliness that hides the godly light. In other words, today when we experience life, I don't have to prove to you that you exist. I don't even have to prove to you that the table exists. You're convinced that it is here. I have to prove to you that God exists. If you're going to ask all of today's scientists, they're going to tell you whether the material world exists. I don't know, it's debatable. In their understanding, it's debatable, not in their feelings. A person, any scientist can tell you it's debatable, does not really matter, it's all quantums, it's all this, it's only talk. In their feelings, they feel that the world exists. And what is this feeling comes from? These feelings comes from the 10 utterances. The 10 utterances hide the godly light. That's what they do. But like we said in the previous chapter, even though they had the godly light, they are also their godly light. It comes from God itself. Just like the shell that hides the animal, but the shell is the animal. Okay? So פרק כ"ב. רק, only, שהתורה דיברה כלשון בני אדם, the Torah talked, gave us analogy in the words of man, ונקרא בתורה, and the Torah calls, דיבורו של מקום ברוך השם, בשם דיבור ממש. So previously we said that out of God, say we can speak. Speak is something that comes out of us. But with God, there's nothing that comes out of him. He is everything. Speech is not me. It's not, I can give you many examples of speech is not me. I can love somebody and I can tell him I hate him. I can hate him and I can tell him I love him. Speech is not me. That's got nothing to do with me. Yeah? With God, speech is him. What does it mean? There's nothing outside of God. There's not can be something else. So you're going to ask the question, so what do you mean? All this evil in the world, or all these mundane things in this world, all this world which is not holy, that's God also? So the answer is yes, that is God also. But last time we said, with God nothing comes out. So therefore the question is, how come in Kabbalah, or how come in the Torah itself, it describes God's creation of the world as utterances? Dibur mamash, it says, it is described as real speech, kediburo shel adam, just like the speech of man. You know what it should say? It should say, we are God's figment of imagination. That will be a more correct term to the way we described it. In other words, God thinks of a person, and therefore the person exists. If God will stop thinking about him, it will not exist. That will be a more correct way to say it. Why does it refer to the word speech and not to the word thought? So he explains, לפי שבאמת כך הוא, because in reality it is speech, דרך ירידת והמשכת החיות, the way godliness comes down and gives life לתחתונים, to the lower worlds. How? בצמצומים רבים, with many contractions, ועצומים, and great contractions, מינים ממינים שונים, all kinds of contractions, להיבראות מהם, to be created from them, ברואים רבים, many creatures. There's many creatures who, you know how does the name Yud K Vav K? Everybody knows Yud K Vav K talks about the essence of God. And besides Yud K Vav K, the Torah is full with another word. It's called Elokim. Notice a couple of things. First of all, Elokim is in plural, which means that Yud K Vav K, when it comes down to this world, it manifests in many, 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 many ways. It can be a plant, it can be an animal, it can be a human, it can be an angel, in many ways. ממינים שונים, וכל כך גברו ועצמו הצמצומים, and it doesn't matter it can come down, all these contractions of the godly light, to such an extent, והסתר פנים העליונים, to such an extent that the object will not even realize it is the essence of God. Let me just give an example because I think this is too esoterical. If a photon of light will have intellect, let's assume it has an intellect for our practice, and you asked him, Mr. Photon, explain me about yourself, tell me who you are. You know what he will do? He will not understand your question. He tells you, what do you mean, what am I? I am a wave, which means the sun is here. I don't exist. I am not. I'm not reality. The sun reached here, that's what I am. I am not an entity to my own. I don't understand your question. There's no I. The photon is going to scream, there is no I in me. So the entire creation is a wave. God is speaking, the waves that is making the entire creation. You know how the entire creation should feel? You ask him, how are you? It should feel, I am nothing, but it doesn't feel it. What do we feel? We exist. God will debate. The fact that we exist is guaranteed by us. By the way, not only by us, by the angels also. They exist. You ask Michael, what are you? I exist. I'm Michael. Yeah? There is some kind of existence by him. He exists as a creation. Maybe Michael is a little bit more like the sun, but nevertheless, there's an idol. But so how did it get to such an extent? Because God has two energies. He has the energy to reveal himself, and he also has an energy to contract himself. So by creating the world, he is creating the world with the energy that contracts himself. And we explained before, why did God contract himself? Let me just, since we have some new people, let me just explain it in short. When a rabbi has a very, very deep idea, this idea wants to be everywhere. And so he can explain, let's say a professor, he can explain it to other professors. But what about a 5-year-old or a 12-year-old or an 18 years old? How is he going to explain the deep idea to him? So it says he has to contract his thinking. He has to give an analogy. He has to give a shell over the idea. So he brings down the idea in a form of an allegory to the student. Now the allegory hides the wisdom of the rabbi. But that's the only way to reveal the wisdom of the rabbi to a lower world. The same thing God, when God gives utterances, when he says the 10 utterances, he creating a limited world, and because of that, there's a hidden, he hides the fact that you don't see the idea, you just see the material allegory. Our job is to take the allegory and see the idea inside. This is what the Jewish mission is. Take this physical world, which is an allegory to godliness, and bring out the godliness in it. Take a coin, which you could use to buy a steak, and use it to open a yeshiva, to open a hospital, to open a school, and so on and so forth. So, because of those contractions, in order to bring godliness into the lower realms, עד שיוכלו להתהוות ולהיבראות, until God actually creates גם דברים טמאים, things that are impure. You're going to ask this question, I know everybody's going to ask now. I'm not going to deal with this question because this question is going to be dealt in chapter 26. I'm just going to mention the question. Why does God need impurity? Why does not God need evil in this world? But He's creating them. God is creating right now evil. Evil is being created right now in this world. Veklipot and shells, vesitra achra, and the other side. And you know all these things, where do they receive their life from? Right now. How do they exist? God is giving them life. How did Hitler live? God was feeding him life. Every second of the day. He was sustaining him. So the question is, you want to tell me that God, it's the same God sustains a tzaddik and the same God that sustains Hitler? It's the same thing? And the answer is, well, yes, it's the same thing. Why does he need it? I don't know. But it's the same God. There's no such thing as... Because otherwise you're going to say there are things which are not God in this world. And we know that God is everything. Velekabel chayutam, all the things receives their livelihood, receive their life, vekiyumam, and their existence. They also receive it. From where? From the same 10 utterances that is creating the world. Midvar Hashem veruach piv yitbarach. How? Be'ester panim. But he comes over to them in hester panim. He's hiding himself, his innards. The word panim in Hebrew means face. It also means innards. The reason why there's a relationship between innards and face, because your face shows on your innards. What does it mean? When you're angry, you can see it where? Not on my nose. You cannot see it on my finger that I'm angry. You can see it in my face that I'm angry. When I'm happy, where can you see it? On my face. So that's the relationship in Hebrew. The word face and innards is the same. Yeah? It means, panim shows the pnimiyut. Be'ester panim, ve'yeridat hamadregot, and coming down in the levels, ve'lachen nikraim, and therefore we call those levels idols. That's what we call them. Those are idols. Elokim acherim. Other gods. By the word other, acherim, means in English, it has two definitions in Hebrew. It means other or another. The word acher, other gods. It also means the behind. From achor, behind. Panim is also means front, and achor means behind. Yeah, the behind of the person or the front of the person. How are you doing? You doing good? Very, very good?
Yes.
Anyway,
I say it, I believe it.
And now when we have a relationship, when I talk to you, you feel involved?
Yes.
Okay? Talk to me now. Go ahead, talk to me.
Hi, Rabbi. How are you today?
Thank God. How did that feel?
Not good.
Why?
Because you weren't giving me your attention.
Say it again. I wasn't giving you what?
You weren't giving me your attention.
My what?
Your face.
My face. What did I give you?
The back of your head.
My behind.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference between giving someone's face and giving someone's our behind. So now we're going to learn what is it Elokim Acherim, other gods. Before we even go there, I'll take you in a story. Everybody remembers how Eichmann was brought from Argentina to Israel? Everybody remembers the story, famous story. Yeah? It didn't happen the way I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you that way anyway to understand the thing. The group of people who brought Eichmann from Israel, let's say, I don't know if there was a woman over there also in that group of people. And after they captured Eichmann, and let's say her son was with her also, small son, 8 years old, that she brought with her to the trip in order to have an alibi. What is she doing there? They went on a trip with her 8-year-old son. Let's say that's the case. It wasn't. But just for our case, let's say that's the case. After they caught Eichmann, they got Eichmann. And they put him in an apartment before they drugged him. and they put him on the plane to come to Israel, right? She needed to cook for everybody. You know who did she cook for? She didn't cook only for her. She didn't cook only for her son. She cooked also for whom? For Eichmann. The question is, now, why is she cooking the same meal? She made eggs to her son, and then she made eggs to Eichmann. She's giving life to both. Is it the same way? Is it the same way though? Is she giving the same life? Yes. Both of them are receiving life. Both of them are receiving eggs. Right? Both of them, she sustains both of them. What's the difference? One is panim, one is a chor. But the question is, so what? So what is, if one is panim, one is a chor? How does it make a difference? One is she gives face, she wants to give, she wants to feed, and the other one, take. Why does she has to? There's a reason. Because she wants him to come to Israel to face a trial. In other words, ask her, do you want Eichmann to live? What's the answer? No. So why are you feeding him? There's a purpose. I don't know why. There's a purpose. Ask her, do you want your son to live? Absolutely. So like this, the world works. There are some things that God wants to sustain. It gives to them panim. There are some things that God doesn't want to be. He doesn't want. He wants them to die. He wants them not to be here. So why does he give them? There's a purpose. We don't know what the purpose is in chapter 26. We know her purpose is, whatever the purpose is so that the kid, that Eichmann could be brought to trial. Whatever that purpose. So there's a purpose. When things have a purpose, that's the problem. In other words, God is not interested in them. A Jew, holiness has no purpose. It is the purpose. Before we even go, let me give another analogy. You went to work today?
Excuse me?
You went to work today?
No, I did not.
You retired?
Yes, I am.
You went to work today? Why did you go to work?
Why?
Yeah.
For bills to pay.
What? You have bills to pay. You want to eat. Aha. So, do you want to work? So why did you go to work?
So I have to eat.
Because you have to eat. Because you want to work because you want money, right? I tell you, do you want money? I don't want money either. What do you want? I want to eat. Do you want just to eat? The purpose is I want to be alive. That's why I went to work. That's the ultimate purpose. The ultimate purpose to go to work is because you want to be alive. So you don't want to go to work. You don't want to. You don't want money either. What do you want? To exist, to be alive, to continue, to be comfortable. Yeah, that's what a person wants. That's his inner being. God has the same system. Something, you ask, what is it? This is what I want. And other things are like work. There's a purpose. There's a reason why I go to work. Not because work is important. I want to exist, so I have to go to work. Nobody's giving me money. If I will win the lottery, maybe I will not go to work unless I want satisfaction. And then I will go to work with the satisfaction. But I will not go work for money if I have the money. Same thing is over here. So let's read it inside. Over here, מפני שיניקתם וחיותם, all these things that are not holy, that you're asking, why is God creating them? אינם מבחינת פנים. God is not giving them facing. He says, here, you are my purpose. You're my baby. I love you. Please take. How does he give them energy? Like you give work energy. it's a necessary evil. That's how we call it. It's a necessary evil. We need to deal also with that. What can we do? Ela mibchinat achoraim. He gives them on the attribute of, yeah, take, leave me alone. Take. The same way that lady gave food to Eichmann. Take, leave me alone. I have to feed you. Do I like to feed you? I hate it. I hate every second. But there's a purpose in it. מבחינת אחוריים דקדושה. ופירוש אחוריים, and when we say the back, כאדם הנותן דבר לשונאו. So that God sustains those things that are against godliness. But he sustains them like someone who gives something to the one he hates. שלא ברצונו. It's like as if God doesn't want to give it life. But there's a reason. Which we're going to see what it is later on. שמשליחו לו כלאחר כתפו. He throws it to him behind the shoulder. Why? כי מחזיר פניו ממנו משנאתו אותו. Because he can't even look at him in his face. He's so disgusted by it. By this evil thing. He can't even look at him. He says, here, take, I'm forced to give it to you. Just take, leave me alone. כך למעלה. So it is so the same way by God. When we say panim, Hashem ya'er ברכת כהנים, Hashem ya'er panav elecha. Hashem will shine his face, his front to you. His front to you. And when it comes about idols, what does God say? Calls them lo yelecha elokim acherim. Don't choose the energies that I throw behind my back, because you have a choice. You can. A Jew has a choice where he's going to get his sustenance from. From the energy that Hashem gives lovingly, or from the energy that Hashem throws over the shoulder. And over here it says that do not go to the Elokim Acherim. Why would you? We're going to learn later on that the Elokim Acherim has an advantage. It's a lot. We see that later on. כך למעלה מבחינת פנים הוא פנימיות הרצון העליון. This is the inner parts of God. What he really wants. וחפצו האמיתי. אשר חפץ השם להשפיע חיות לכל הקרוב אליו מסתרא דקדושה. This is his baby. The things that are holy, these are God's baby. He wants them alive. He says, please eat, please eat, please eat. I want you alive. I want you to exist. I want you to be here. And there's some things in the world where God says, I don't want you to exist. I am forced to give you because there's a reason that's going to come out of you. There's some use I have for you. Yeah? And there's going to be a time that I'm not interested in you. When Mashiach comes, all the evil in the world is going to be eliminated. I will not need you anymore. The holy, my sons, or the holy things in this world, I will always want. Those things, I will want them as long as they're serving their purpose. Once the purpose is done, I don't want them anymore. אבל הסטרא אחרא, but the סטרא אחרא והטומאה and the impurity, היא תועבת השם אשר שנא. God is disgusted by them completely. ואינו משפיע לחיות מפנימיות הרצון וחפצו האמיתי. And he doesn't give it his inner being, his inner self, to become alive. אשר חפץ בה חס ושלום. He doesn't want those things to exist. כאם, but as if, he's using over here an expression from the Gemara, כמן דשדי בתר כתפוי לשונאו. Someone who throws behind his shoulders to his haters. שלא ברצונו, he's forced to it. Forced. He has something in mind for it. רק, if you want to know the answer, why is it? We're just going to give the heading, we're not going to explain it. כדי להעניש את הרשעים, it's in order for reward and punishment, punishment for the evil, וליתן שכר טוב לצדיקים, and to give good reward to the righteous. the akfin lesitra achra, that they are forcing the klipa, they're forcing the evil inclination down. וזה נקרא בחינת אחוריים דרצון העליון. This is called the aspect of the back of God. Maybe I should discuss, no, not discuss it today. והנה רצון העליון בבחינת פנים, and in truth, God's will, which means his really inner will, הוא מקור החיים. It is the source of all life. You remember how God says, I gave in front of you good and evil, the good and bad, and I want you to choose life and death. He says, I gave in front of you, and then he tells you, choose life. You don't have to tell me to choose life. Obviously, I choose life. Why does he have to tell me to choose life? Yeah? Because the other one also appears to us like it's life. I'll give you an example. You have a business, and if you do it according to the Torah, the business is going to succeed wonderfully. You're going according to the rules of the Torah. But over here comes our brain, which is materialistic, which you won't be able to convince that the material world doesn't exist, and it's going to tell you, you know what? If I cut a corner over here, if I cut a corner over there, I'm going to make more money than I'm making money now. In other words, I can sustain myself better, I can get more life, not from opening the business the right way, but from opening the business the wrong way, in the impure way. I see more energy there in the impure way. In other words, if I make $1 million a week or whatever, and my store is closed on Saturday, imagine how much I will make if I will open the store on Saturday. I'll make $1.5 million, because the weekend is, Sunday is the day I make the most of the money. So now Saturday is going to make even more money. You know, that's what the brain thinks. You won't be able to convince him otherwise. Because in reality, this is what he sees. This is the reality of the world. Reality of the world is if you cheat, you make money. If you don't cheat, yeah? There's a saying, businessmen know it, don't be too nice in business. How does the saying goes by the businessman? You can't be too nice in business. Nice guys finish last. One of those things. Yeah? Nice guys finish last. Yeah? That's what it seems like in all these things. This is where you can receive life from where? We want to receive life from the other side. בחינת מקור החיים, מחיה את כל עולמות. But this life, it doesn't dwell at all where? On the other side. The other side is called death. But you're going to say, what do you mean it calls death? I'm getting all my sustenance from it. I'm receiving if I do the wrong things. ולפי שאינו שורר כלל על הסטרא אחרא, but you should know the godly light doesn't dwell at all. There's no life in running the business the wrong way. וגם בחינת אחוריים של רצון העליון, and also the aspect of the back side of the will of God, אינו מלובש בתוכה ממש, is never dressed in it really, אלא מקיף עליה מלמעלה. It only hovers around it from above. Let me explain what's going on over here. God gives us a neshama. A neshama enlivens our body. Our body gets life by the neshama. A neshama enlivens our business. If we do the business according to Torah and mitzvahs, according to the Torah, the ways of the Torah, our business now will live in a Torah way, and it will be prosperous. Yeah? That's what it will be. What happens, though, if we choose the other side to receive our sustenance from? So it tells you, first of all, you should know that the other side has no godly life. But you're telling me, what are you talking about, no godly life? I can get lots of money from it. I can open lots of hospitals with that money. I'll have a successful business and help the Jewish community completely. What do you mean? You know, I can be Lansky mayor, Mayor Lansky. I can be Mayor Lansky and open hospitals all over the world. You know how much money I can make? What are you talking about? So it tells you that the life that you think is there, it's not there. You know how it's right now popular in the movies to have zombies? The idea of zombies in the movies? The idea of zombies in the movie comes from Kabbalah. What is a zombie? A zombie is human being, flesh. It has flesh. Is it alive or is it dead?
It's dead. It's animated. It's dead. It's animated. It's dead.
It moves, but it's not alive. It moves, it behaves, it walks, it talks. Maybe it can even talk. I don't know what it can do, but it's not alive. What do you mean it's not alive? This is the way God enlivens all the bad things in the world. They are zombies. They don't really have godliness in them. They have godliness moving their limbs. But godliness is not in them. By us, on the other hand, by a mitzvah, on the other hand, by holiness, in the other hand, the soul becomes one with the body. The body is alive. It doesn't rot. You know, a zombie still rots, even though it's moving, because it's not alive. Something animates it, but it doesn't become living flesh. So godliness is not really in it. It seems like godliness is in it. It looks like the zombie is stronger than a human being. It has more power. It can do more. It can run for hours. It can run faster. But it's dead. You can get this energy like a zombie, but you're getting what? You don't have godliness though. This is the analogy he's giving over here.
That's why nobody want to be a zombie.
I meet zombies every day.
You eat zombies every day.
Buy a Circle K over here.
That's right. אינו מלובש בתוכה ממש. It says God is not really dressed in them, in the evil of the world. It looks like they're the same thing. But God is not dressed in them. אלא מקיף עליה מלמעלה. It's like a puppet, you know, it's like the strings. He strings it all along, like with a puppet master. He moves the limbs. Yeah, like a marionette. לכך היא מקום המיתה והטומאה. So this is what's called impurity. Why is it impurity? Because anything is impure means God doesn't live there. So how is it moving? It's moving because God is moving it. But it's not alive. Just like a zombie is. A zombie is not alive and it's moving. So this is the difference. We do something in the morning. This is the difference between Shem Havaya and Shem Elokim. Not exactly, but a little bit. Hashem ישמרנו, כי מעט מזהיר אור וחיות שיונקת ומקובלת לתוכה מבחינת אחוריים לקדושה. Even the little bit of godliness that it has in order to move it, הוא בבחינת גלות ממש בתוכה. It's never manifests itself in the body really. It's completely exiled in it. It never becomes part of the body. It's only impurity, with 3 lines from the bottom on page 93. בתוכה, בסוד גלות השכינה. This is called the secret of exile. The exile is a feeling that I don't belong here. We don't belong in exile. And the neshama, godliness, doesn't belong in impurity. So how does impurity survives? The Shechina moves it, but it's not alive. Just like a zombie survives. ולכן נקרא, and therefore all these things are called, all the sins are called, all the things that are against God are called, בשם אלוקים אחרים. They are called other gods because they received their sustenance from the אחוריים, from the backside of God. שהיא עבודה זרה ממש, this is really idol worship, וכפירה באחדותו של מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, and going against God. Let me remind you why we're learning this chapter. We're not learning over here deep mystical things. That's not the idea why we're learning it. We want to come to look at the world. Either you're receiving life from the source of life, which is God, or you're receiving life from a zombie. Either you're eating zombie flesh, or you're eating godly flesh. What would you like to eat? And you remember when we said that to tell ourselves that every small little sin, like I give the example last time, I ate meat 5 hours and 58 minutes ago, and it wasn't real meat, it was just a chicken. And now what's the big deal if I eat chocolate milk and not wait 2 minutes? What's the big deal? It's not such a big deal, 2 minutes. Over here with such an attitude, you know what I'm eating right now? It's not just chocolate milk, it's only just 2 minutes. What am I eating if I eat it? I'm eating zombie flesh. This is why we're learning. A person should contemplate on this. You know what you're eating? It's not 2 minutes, big deal, 2 minutes, who cares? It's either I'm eating godliness, either godliness is going to sustain me, or zombie flesh is going to sustain me. What do I choose? That's the choice I have right now. This is what the choice is going to be. כי מאחר שאור וחיות דקדושה הוא בבחינת גלות בתוכה, since the godliness that manifests itself is not even in it, it's exile in it, אינה בטלה. This zombie flesh is not nullified to godliness. כלל at all לגבי הקדוש ברוך הוא. ואדרבה, and the opposite. מגביה את עצמה כנשר, it makes one soar like an eagle, לומר אני ואפסי עוד. To say, the only thing that exists. I am the only thing that exists. וכמאמר, just like Paro said, יאור לי ואני עשיתיני. It says, the Nile belongs to me and I made myself. That feeling that I control the world is a... ולכן אמרו רז"ל, I'll explain this soon, and therefore the sages said, שגסות הרוח, that somebody who is haughty, שקולה כעבודה זרה ממש. It is just like idol worship. Let's just explain this. What do you mean someone who is haughty? Many people think, I'm Popeye, I'm the best. No. A person can think haughtiness doesn't mean I'm Popeye, I'm the best over here. It means I'm an entity to my own. In other words, a person can think I'm a loser. I'm the worst person in the world. This is avodah zara, idol worship. Why? Because he thinks he exists. That's the problem. The problem is he's pushing God away. He thinks the world is about him. I exist. The true reality of the world, that nothing exists but God. And the fact that you feel that you exist, that's a problem on its own. What do you mean you exist? You're supposed to be like the photon. You remember the photon? The photon says, what do you mean, who am I? I don't exist. The sun is here. The fact that you feel that I'm the lowest, that's already a problem. I am. What do you mean I am? Who's you? What is you? כי עיקר ושורש עבודה זרה, because he's going to say it right now. The main part of idol worship הוא מה שנחשב לדבר בפני עצמו. He thinks that I exist. You know, think about every time in your life you went against God, you got angry, somebody offended you. When does somebody offend you? When you exist. If you don't exist, nobody can offend you. You can't be offended if you don't exist. You only get offended if you know, what do you mean? A loser like you telling me what to do? That feeling that I exist means God doesn't belong here. God is not in the picture. By the way, I'm not saying that it's easy. Somebody comes in the street and gives you a slap in the face. What's the reality? We know it intellectually. The reality is that God decreed that you should have got slapped. But you still get angry. Why do we still get angry? What do you mean I exist? Who gave you permission to carry out God's will? I exist. Maybe I should slap you. Why are you slapping me? This is the way we think. And I'm not blaming anybody. That's the way God made us. God made us this way. We can't get out of it. Over here he says, you don't want to sin. You don't want to sin. You have to look at the entire world. And the entire world is either you're eating zombie flesh or not zombie flesh. In other words, there's no minor or major energies in this world. Minor commandment or major commandment. No, you want to be a Benoni, you want not to ever sin. That's the only way to do it. We're going, and at the talk, is it practical? Are we going to use it? No. It's not the only tool in our disposal. It's one tool. Only one tool. We're going to get many tools later on. Is it an appropriate tool in this day and age? Maybe not, but it's a tool. כי עיקר ושורש עבודה זרה הוא מה שנחשב לדבר בפני עצמו. The main part of idol worship is a person thinks, I exist. What do you mean I exist? I have a say in what's... You know, God is a big boss. I admit. It's not like you don't say that God doesn't exist. People think that it's saying God doesn't exist. No! God exists. But also I exist. It's not that God doesn't exist. I also have something. I am somebody. He is a big God. I'm a little one. But I exist. נפרד מקדושתו שבקדושתו. In other words, my purpose is not to serve God. If my purpose is to serve God, like the photon feels, nothing can happen that I will get offended. Maybe I can get offended for him, but not for me. There's no way I can, because I don't exist. So this is what it says. Idol worship is not believing in God. You believe in God, but you also say that there's also I exist. ולא כפירה בהשם לגמרי. It's not saying that God doesn't exist. כדאית בגמרא, like it says in the Gemara, דקראו לאלוקה דאלוקיה. They call him gods of the God. I admit that there's a God. But I am also a little God. By the way, look at, everybody can do this exercise on himself right now. There's many things, as a religious person, I'm telling you, there's many things that I know I should do better. There's many things I knew that I'm not doing correctly. Many things throughout the day. How come I do it? Because I exist. What do you mean? God, what, you're the only boss over here? There's another. I have to take care of myself, of me also. It's not only you. You're not the only one in the picture. You know what I feel every time, almost every day, after I finish to pray, to daven, just daven mincha, not long ago. You know what my feeling is? God, I'm done. Leave me alone now. I don't owe you anything. In other words, I want to exist as me. Let me be. I've done it. I did you a favor. I admit that you're a God. I admit. But you know, now it's me. I serve also me, not only you. I'm also someone that needs a little serving. Well, only you need serving. I also exist. This is the problem. See, a tzaddik doesn't have this problem ever. A tzaddik can't think this way. A tzaddik thinks the only reason I exist is like Avraham says, the only reason I exist is in order to serve God. That's why God put me here. He feels it. אלא שגם הם מחשיבים עצמם ליש ודבר בפני עצמו. The Klippa also thinks of themselves as something that exists. ובזה מפרידים את עצמם מקדושתו של מקום. And in this we separate ourselves from the holiness of God. מאחר שאין בטלים לו יתברך. Because we don't feel like the photon. We are never nullified like the photon. And this is the rule. Everybody knows, why did God choose Mount Sinai? Why did God choose Moshe?
Because everybody can participate if they choose to, or something like that.
Because they were humble. They didn't exist. What does humble mean? Completely nullified to God. They didn't feel themselves. Humbleness means not feeling self. They were humble. Humbleness brings the presence of God. When you don't exist, God dwells in you. When you exist, you're the man now. God doesn't have a space though. כי אין קדושה עליונה, because the holiness which up, שורה על מה שבטל לו יתברך. The holiness doesn't dwell only on things that are completely nullified to him. ולכן נקראים, and therefore in the Zohar, any sign of haughtiness, any sign of feeling of oneself, the Zohar calls it Turei de Pruda, the mountains of separation. That's what the Zohar calls it. Those are the mountains that separate between you and me. When you do things for you, because you exist, and not for me, those are the mountains of separation. בזוהר הקודש. והרי זו כפירה באחריותו האמיתית. In other words, you're saying that I'm not the only boss. That I can dwell. What do I say to God when I finish davening? I say to God, you know what? I'm your servant until what? Until I finish mincha. Until I finish. Now, I'm not your servant anymore. You know whose servant I am now? I'll take care of myself now.
You're off the clock.
Yeah. Think about these words. This is what we're saying to God. And everybody is saying it. It's not like you can say, some rabbis don't say it. The entire world says it, unless you're a tzaddik. The real reality is, everything should be completely, actually everything is completely nullified to God's. ובטל באמת לא יתברך. It's completely nullified to him. ולרצונו המחיה כולם, ומהווה אותם מאין ליש תמיד. God is actually sustaining the entire world to be alive every moment. Not just us, also the klipot. Everything God sustains. In other words, if God wants to destroy you, if God wants to destroy the world, he doesn't need to do something. He needs to stop doing something. He's sustaining now. The reason why we exist, because God's saying now a vibration, 10 utterances. He's saying constantly. If for 1 second he will stop, the entire world will disappear. So if God wants us to not be here, so actually think about that sound. He's thinking, I exist. I'm reality. God will debate whether he exists or not. This is who we are. We are the vibration. We feel that we are existing. We are something. I made myself. By the way, you know how Paro said, I made myself? That's the feeling we all have. And I'll show you, think in your brain. Are you convinced that you exist? 100%. Everybody, I can convince you that I don't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. I can convince you that the table doesn't exist. It's a figment of your imagination. You just think it exists. Yeah? I can't convince you that you don't exist. There's nothing I will be able to teach you, I'll be able to tell you, that you will tell me, you know what, you're right, I don't exist. Yeah? Look at the way you look at God. We experience God. I don't have a feeling that he exists. I have a feeling that what? that I exist. That's the feeling that I have. This is the energy that God is creating this world from. That energy.